Next on Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly, Carolina Anthem head coach Augustin Cavalieri, John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning, Brian Ray of America's Rugby News, and Pat Clifton of the College Rugby Show on the College Rugby Corner. Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle.
There is a massive responsibility on the 23 that are privileged enough to step out on that field today.
Let's get it all started with our recurring segment, Rugby Mornings Coffee Break with John Fitzpatrick, calling in from the greater Los Angeles area. John, lots going on in the MLR. We've got leadership announcements, scheduling announcement, format announcements. We got Brian Ray's head ready to pop off his shoulders in the green room about all of it. But I wanted to ask you first, what do you make of the Graeme, Bradbury, Alex Magleby co-presidency in the MLR?
Well, maybe the understatement of the year, but 2026 is shaping up to be a massive season for Major League Rugby. So much on the line that the league needs to find some stable footing here. So perhaps trying something new, like going to a co-president thing, will work, right? You've got Graeme, who can focus on the commercial side, really build up those business relationships, bring more money into the sport. And then you got Alex Magleby, right? Like, everyone knows who he is. He's got a great reputation, doing great things there with the New England Free Jacks. Build up the storytelling, the marketing. Can they come together and work to get the league on solid footing for 2026? They're going to have to if Major League Rugby is going to be a success beyond this season.
All right, yeah. And I'll talk to Brian about this more, but we've also got the scheduling, and I know that you have a favorite player that's retiring that you wanted to salute.
Yeah, of course. We got to shout out Nate Osberger. I mean, what a presence for Major League Rugby, for USA Rugby, for any kid out there who's throwing a rugby ball around and sees Nate Osberger, all 5'7", 5'8" of them out there, going out there playing like he's 220 pounds. If we could just extract the DNA from him and just place it into the DNA of all these up-and-coming rugby players, man, you've got a guy who just doesn't quit. Congrats to Nate to go out on his own terms. What a steward for rugby here in the U.S. What a great model. And I'm sure that's not the last we'll see of Nate Osberger as it relates to rugby here in the U.S. I'm excited to see what he's going to do next.
Yeah, likewise. Just not a better person on and off the pitch. And out of that massacre by the All Blacks in Washington, D.C., your former hometown, he was okay. He was like one of three Eagles that you could say, hey, you played pretty well. And it's a credit to him. And the All Blacks credited him for his performance in that match as well afterwards. How about scheduling? Any of that stuff catch your eye?
Yeah, sure. So we know that the Major League Rugby season is going to kick off in April now, 10 games, 5 home, 5 away. I think it's a good idea that it's starting in April, I think, right, for those northern cities. Having home games in April will be a little bit warmer, a little bit more sunshine. Try and make sure those early season matches have a better attendance. So I think that all makes sense. Now, I think the most exciting thing, and this isn't new, but we're getting some more information about it, is the Sunday night rugby, right? That's going to start off in week 3, 9 regular season matches, 1 semifinal. Really, truly quality production before the match and then after the match. I mean, so long as you're not on the broadcast, everything should go fine.
Ouch, babe. Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, we'll see. Crazier things have happened. I don't know. We'll see. But, all right, well, we're basically out of time, but I just wanted to say...
Yeah, one more thing. Shout out USA Women's Eagles. They've hired a new head coach, former Canadian Sevens women's head coach, Jack Hanratty. Congrats there. 2026 should be an interesting season for the Women's Eagles as they regroup for their next Rugby World Cup cycle.
All right, John, thank you very much for another stellar report from the greater Los Angeles area. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and come back with the head coach of the Carolina Anthem or Anthem Rugby, depending on who you're talking to, Augustin Cavalieri, after this.
Digs like a demented mole there.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street. Hey, before we come back, let's take a look back at another sensational New York Sevens, sponsored by the New York Rugby Club, just the coolest club on the planet.
Excuse me, you know where the rugby is? You got the right idea.
Back again, we back. We watching a beautiful game of rugby. We got the New York Selects versus this is Omar from AISP. Oh my God. Yeah, the fans love me out here. Oh my God. I do it for the crowd, I do it for the team.
By the way, Omar, this isn't your first time on Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly.
This is actually my second time on Rugby Wrap-Up. I got a 3 Samoan shirt. That's why you should come out to NYC Sevens. Get some.
Are cameras allowed in here? All right, who's cooking the hot dogs? Who's cooking the hot dogs? Who's holding out on the hot dogs?
We are the New England Free Jacks, and Max is watching.
And we are back, and we have the pleasure of welcoming in, and I'm going to try to get this right, like I'm in Argentina, but also with an Italian affectation, Coach Augustin Cavalieri of the Anthem Carolina, and I could tell by your face I didn't get it right.
Cavalieri.
Cavalieri.
Yes.
I gotta get it. I'm gonna get better, Coach. I promise. As this goes on, I'm gonna have a couple of beers, and then I'll be speaking fluent Italian and fluent Argentinian or Spanish. But anyway, in all seriousness, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure for me also.
All right. So, Coach, for the people that don't know or aren't familiar with you that are tuning in, you're the head coach of Anthem Carolina, but you basically kind of took that over with the last 5 games of the season last year. But previously, you had experience with another 0-16 team, and that was the Dallas Jackals. You were the head coach of Dallas Jackals. You inherited an 0-16 team, but not only did you get them their first wins, but you got them into the playoffs, and you beat the SaberCats in the playoffs, and then the SaberCats left the league. So thanks a lot, Coach.
Well, was a very nice story there, Dallas. Yes, as you told me, coming from 0-16 and arriving there to Dallas. It was a very difficult first season there for me on 2023 with all that pressure on having that win, and yeah, it was tough. We lost a few games for about 2 points, 1 point, and then finally that win arrives in the round 8. I don't remember. Yeah, round 8 against Toronto at home, and was very, very, very nice. Then was a very, very difficult season. Okay, and then the organization made some changes after that season, and then in 2024 we made a completely different roster and completely different environment also, and where all the community was very connected with the team. Yeah, and was a very successful season where we went into the playoff and we played the conference final. We arrived to 1 minute. We were there. They
Yeah.
also the championship. Yeah.
Crazy, crazy. And, I had a full head of hair before I watched some of your matches in that first season that you were coaching. The game in New England, the Chicago game, I think it was a combination of 3 points that you lost those two games.
Yeah. And then finally arrived that win against Toronto. And yeah, I talked to and was very.
Are you still losing sleep over those games?
Yes.
Pretty much, right?
Always sleeping well. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So the good news for Anthem fans is that you've been through this before and you helped turn the team around. So what's the secret sauce? What's the magic potion to get the first win in Anthem history, Coach?
To be honest, we have been working right after the end of the season with all the Anthem stuff and with the players that will stay here and with Mark Carney, the general manager, on trying to start that process that will allow us to have a much more competitive team and allow us to get those results that we are aiming for. But we are not aiming here to get wins also, but also to develop players because that is the aim for this team. Now develop the development of the American players and trying to.
Coach, hold on a second, because I know you're a competitive guy. I mean, you had a long, nice career playing in Italy, where you also started coaching, and I think your quote was, "I got tired of being the oldest player on the team, so I wanted to be the youngest coach out there," right?
Yeah. I play until 37, but I was coaching also. But yeah, I was a bit tired.
But here's my question. I mean, you're a competitive guy, and now you have that balance of having to help develop national players, but you also want to win. I know you want to win.
Yeah, obviously, because we want the Eagles to win, and the only way to get that habit on winnings is getting wins also on the teams, and trying to build that mentality that will allow our players to start winning more games in everything that are playing. So yeah, obviously we want to develop that not only the player from the rugby side, but also from the mental side, that we want them we want to build that also, that winning mentality.
Now the dynamic of the league has changed, where now all 6 teams, the remaining 6 teams, are now focused on developing domestic players. So that kind of makes it more difficult for you, but you do have the advantage of being an assistant coach with the Eagles now, so you have exposure that maybe some of the other coaches and maybe some of the other GMs don't have across the league.
Yes, probably, but it's true that also most of the players that I have been coaching in November on the Eagles, they are in other teams, and yeah, I'm probably now. I know those players, probably I know, but yeah, they have the players, and they have the possibility to use them during the week and to coach them during the week and to play them on the weekends, and I think that it's very nice. I know that it was a big problem, having all those teams folding, and I can tell you that because I experienced that in the past with the Jackals and how tough that is.
Yeah.
But we have to look at the positive that we have now. We're gonna have plenty of American players playing every weekend on the field, and that is the most important thing. The most important thing is having those players playing and playing games and minutes.
And Coach, you're still pretty young. I mean, I'm looking at you, and you're a big guy. I'm thinking maybe you throw on the cleats because we don't have a lot of locks out there. But in all seriousness, I talked to Sam Gala a couple of times, and I've had him on the show, and he was talking about how, because of the nature of the beast with the Anthem last year, he was kind of forced into a leadership role, and he would have liked to have had somebody older than him that had played lock or second row, to maybe mentor him. And now this is kind of like this is right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I have been coaching Sam for a long time, and I can tell you that I was always trying to help him with that, but also, and I know that also this year, next season, we're gonna have also some experienced player that will come and will allow Sam to will help him to get that experience that probably he's needing. having players that will push him a bit and will be very, very helpful for some.
There should be more parity in the league this year with this new philosophy, this new setup. So do you think that you might have an advantage over others with this because you've had the American players exclusively on your roster?
We will have some international players, not too many, a very low number, and we have more American players than the other team. That is the reality. Then I don't know if it's an advantage or not. I can tell you that I have plenty of very good American players playing for Seattle, for DC, for Chicago. All the teams have very good American players. So I think that we have a big number of American players, but all the teams has a very good level.
All right, so let's shift gears to the Eagles because you are an assistant coach with the Eagles. What do you think's ahead for that team?
I came to the November tour with them, and I think that, well, first of all, they did a great stuff on qualifying the team for the World Cup. I think that people think that it's easy, but it's a really, really tough job to do. I think that they did a great job, and I think that game against Samoa was amazing. I think the players and the staff, they did a great job. Awesome job on qualifying the team for the World Cup. Now, obviously, then when we went to the November test, I think that we have that game against Scotland that was really tough. But then the week after we play against Georgia, as you mentioned, and I think the guys, they did a great job. We finished the tour with a very good win against Romania. Romania is never easy playing there, and they are tough teams to play against. And yeah, I think that was a positive tour. Yeah.
Thank you to Coach Cavalieri.
Thank you so much.
Didn't get it again.
Cavalieri.
Cavalieri.
Yes.
You're being gracious. I appreciate that. Thank you, Coach. Much appreciated. We got to get you back on soon.
Thank you so much. I hope to see you soon, okay?
All right. We'll be right back with Pat Clifton with the College Rugby Corner after this.
It is eating season. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. At Health Enhanced Foods, we got 17 baking mixes to be able to help enhance your holiday meals. Whether you're gluten-free, you need ketogenic, whether you are low FODMAP, whatever your special dietary need is, we have a baking mix for you. Go to healthenhancedfoods.com. Go ahead and use coupon code RugbyOdds to be able to get 25% off your first order. Let's get this season going. And honestly, whatever Matt's about to say next, just ignore it. It's not even worth it.
And we're back with Mr. Pat Clifton of the College Rugby Show on the College Rugby Corner. Pat, welcome back. What happened, Pat? What do you got for us?
I ate my weight in green bean casserole, and no rugby happened because it was Thanksgiving weekend. But we did have some off-the-field news. Devastating, tragic, huge. Wheeling head coach Ken Pape has been fired just days before the national championship game. They had one loss, technically. It's only a second-year program. One loss, technically, which got overturned because of an eligibility violation. We don't have official word from the school why Wheeling has let go of Ken Pape, but he's gone. So Max Hamilton is going to step in, the men's coach, and take them down to Houston. And they've also got 7 players suspended, including 4 starters from their semifinal against Penn State and 3 off the bench. This weekend, we've got women's national championships across the board, D1 through D3. It's going to be, as we talked about, Wheeling SNU is going to be a fantastic game. No Gulata, no Dallas. How is Wheeling going to rebound from that? And SNU, they've got to be licking their chops. So that women's D1 final is going to be fantastic on Saturday. Women's D1 AA national championship between Northeastern and Colorado. They look like 2 juggernauts. That's going to be a fantastic game as well. And then D2 and D3, we've got Vassar trying to win a repeat. We've got Eau Claire trying to take back the dynastic crown from the Brewers in D2. And in D3, it's Endicott. Carly Baker going for her 5th national championship in as many years across 15s and 7s. The Goals are building a dynasty down there, and there's a lot of people trying to knock them off. On the men's side, D1, D1A, D1 AA, we've got our playoffs this weekend. So it's punching their ticket to Houston, the semifinals across the board. On the men's side, we've got St. Bonaventure versus Walsh and Belmont Abbey versus Queens. Men's D1 AA, Louisville, Bowling Green, Tennessee, Texas A&M. It's going to be a really fun weekend.
Pat, put your heart back in your chest and put your head on your shoulders because you have your obligation to the rugby odds to pick 2 games.
I'm going to pick Bowling Green to beat Louisville. They've lost twice already this season. Like I said, I think they're a different outfit. I think they are differently motivated. And I'm going to pick Southern Nazarene over Wheeling.
All right, Pat Clifton, another stellar installment of the College Rugby Corner. You, of course, from the College Rugby Show. Thank you, Pat. We'll be right back with Mr. Brian Ray of America's Rugby News and Ray's Rugby after this. You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? And we're back with Mr. Brian Ray of America's Rugby News / Ray's Rugby. Brian, welcome. I see you are in, is that Toronto?
York Lions Stadium, waiting patiently for the resurrection of the Arrows.
If the time was ever appropriate, it's now, for God's sakes. But in the meantime, we've been looking for some announcements, some kind of anything out of MLR headquarters, and we finally got some stuff this week, including the schedules and the formatting, the formatting, plus the leadership. And we have a co-presidency with Alex Magleby and Graeme Bradbury, and I wanted to get your take on that.
Well, it's nice to see some signs of life from the league after such a long stretch of absolutely nothing. Do I think we should be jumping up and down about this? No. First of all, I'm not at all a fan of co-anything, co-captains, co-whatever, co-presidents. I just think you need somebody at the top who's accountable and, you know, someone who you look to for the answers. I mean, what? Which president do you look at? We've gone from a commissioner to a CEO, and now we're co-presidents.
Well,
I'm not thrilled about that. To me, it just says, hey, we're trying to survive. And to be fair, they are. They're in survival mode. So this is something they probably had to do. As far as should we be excited who's taking over? I mean, it depends how you look at it. Certainly I like a lot of what Alex Magleby has done. But it's not like he's a new face. It's not like he's a fresh face here. He's been involved in the league since day one. He's a minority owner with the Free Jacks. He's been involved with the league directors, before. Graeme Bradbury was the chief operating officer last year. So how has his role changed at all? It seems to me all he's adding is a title of co-president. So I don't, and then Nick Benson, who was formerly the CEO, is still around as some kind of advisor on special projects or something. So, I mean, the cynic in me looks at this and says, hey, this is just shuffling deck chairs. I mean, none of these are new names. So where are the new ideas coming from here? And if these guys have new ideas, why weren't they on the table last season?
The optimist in me says, okay, perhaps it had to do with the amount of owners and more opinions that were being issued and levied throughout last season and even in this offseason as teams started to drop out because of clashes in personality or clashes with philosophies. So maybe they didn't have, or maybe a Graeme Bradbury didn't have the opportunity to impact the league because there had so many different people still involved in saying what was going on. Too many chefs in the kitchen, if you will. Whereas Mags, the one thing about Mags is he's got a social media presence. He understands the power of it. He's got a sense of humor. And the Free Jacks have great events. It's just not a rugby game. It's an event every Saturday. And Mags had a lot to do with that. So I'm hoping, the optimist in me hopes that he can bring that edge and that side to the league, while Graeme, it says he's in charge of maintaining the he's doing the rugby governance, so he's like handling the envelopes going under the table for so-and-so, right? All that could and should be gone now because you have a centralized system. That wasn't in place last year. So that could be the other thing. Is there anything that the positive Brian Ray has to say about this?
Well, I can agree to what you've just said to an extent, but again, I mean, I don't see a fresh injection of energy here. I see this as people who've been involved from the beginning, or at least Magleby has, and Benson's been around from the beginning, and Bradbury's new. And you're right, maybe now that he's had his one season, I guess, of getting in there and seeing what the issues are, maybe he can improve things going forward. They certainly have a huge task ahead of them. And, I think the point about, the Free Jacks putting on an event around the game is a fair one. And hopefully they can expand that to other teams. Again, why hasn't that been, it seems a bit late, now to be doing this at death's door. So, I certainly wish them the best. I hope they can turn things around. I hope there's a little bit more voice at the table for Canadians with Mr. Magleby in there. Certainly, he's been a strong advocate for them in the past.
Was he an adopted Canadian?
Well, he might as well be an honorary Canadian. He certainly treated them well down in his neck of the woods. So I guess there's some optimism there, but we're just going to have to wait and see. It's a tough one. I hope, and I'm sure that he will. I mean, Alex is certainly much more comfortable in front of the camera than Nick Benson was. He was practically invisible in that role. And I think that a league, especially a startup sporting league, needs to have somebody visible at the top out there doing things. And that's why, again, I'm not a fan of the co-president thing. I don't know why they just didn't say, Megs, you're the whatever CEO or whatever, and have Graeme Bradbury still doing his COO, maybe a little expanded role. So I think as a figurehead, that's a drawback from doing that co-presidency thing.
All right. Well, they do have specific duties that are outlined in this announcement, but you're right. Ideally, I think they'd have like a Gary Bettman, for instance, somebody like that, but we don't. And we're dealing with what we're dealing with, and we got a league. We've got to change. We've got to change of philosophy. The optimist in me is, okay, let's give it a shot. But Brian, your opinions are always appreciated, and I appreciate you taking the time out from being in Toronto at the stadium. I know that you're doing wind sprints just to keep in shape, and we'll see you next time. On that note, we're out of time. I want to thank Mr. Brian Ray of America's Rugby News /Ray's Rugby, John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning, Augustin Cavalieri of Anthem Rugby, Pat Clifton of the College Rugby Corner, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out our other program, The Rugby Odds. It's a good one. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, sign up for our weekly newsletter, and please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.